Debbie, my understanding is you are not exactly breaking out the elation for the Sarah Palin endorsement of Donald Trump, even though you are a true conservative. Let
Well,
me know your thoughts.
well, listen, Sarah Palin is not a conservative. I don't know what she's conservative on, except the Second Amendment and the right to life. Other than that, she's pretty liberal. And in fact, she raised taxes in Alaska when she was half governor, quitter governor. And not only that, but she promoted her daughter's out of wedlock motherhood. I don't think baby mama promotion is a conservative issue. Apparently it is when it involves her, and suddenly it's pro-life. But, I mean, her daughter is a serial baby mama with different guys. And, she promoted that, saying, oh, don't have sex out of wedlock and have a kid like my daughter unless you want to be on Dancing with the Stars, have magazine spreads, and get paid for it by People magazine in an 8-page spread and in Vogue, have a reality show, blah, 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 dot, dot, dot. Don't get pregnant unless you want those things to happen. I mean, that's the kind of message she was sending. I don't know what is she conservative about. And the other thing is Donald Trump is not a conservative. Listen, if he's the nominee, I will vote for him, but he is not conservative. He wants to raise taxes on the wealthy and on hedge funds. He keeps talking about that, which is interesting because Ted Cruz got attacked for attacking New York values when you say, and for taking Wall Street, but when you say I want to tax hedge funds, aren't you basically saying the same thing? I think maybe you are.
I don't know. Hedge funds tend to be liberal. They tend to give money to Democrats.
They do, and that's New York values. I do think it was a little disturbing when Ted Cruz said some of that because it does sound like he's attacking Jews because that's who's in New York. But I don't think anyone can accuse Ted Cruz of being anti-Semitic. He's very philo-Semitic, very pro-Israel. His chief of staff is a semi-religious Jew, and he's been one of the most outspoken supporters of Israel. Donald Trump hasn't been. And that's another thing. I mean, he is not right on a lot of issues. And Sarah Palin presents herself as some kind of conservative that she really isn't. And that's why she did endorse Donald Trump. She's all about publicity. She's a publicity hound. Her star has fallen. She's not a Fox News contributor anymore. I don't believe one of the accounts said that her contract with them ended and they dumped her again in the summer. The other thing is that she, hasn't sold as many books as before, and she wants to be in the limelight. And what better way to do that than to be with Donald Trump, because he's the guy that's hogging the headlines now. But every time I tell the truth about Sarah Palin, I get attacked that I'm a liberal. When I'm a conservative, she isn't. I'm more conservative on most issues than she is. But there's been this cult of personality that has developed around her, where many conservatives, particularly evangelical Christians, and a group of whom I've been very supportive, but I just don't understand their affinity for her just because she claims to be a religious Christian. I don't know how religious she is. And again, if you're a religious Christian, why are you promoting your daughter's serial baby mamahood? There's this cult of personality that they have created around her, and you can never say the truth or anything about Sarah Palin, or you are branded as a liberal.
Would you say, Debbie, that she's jumped the shark?
I think she jumped the shark a long time ago, but apparently Donald Trump doesn't think so, but only for the purposes of the Republican nomination. He will drop her like a rock once he gets the nomination. In the general election, he will have nothing to do with her because he knows that will lose him votes in the general population, which does not like her, and does legitimately think that she is ignorant. She is ignorant. She doesn't know a lot of things. She makes up words. I think yesterday in her endorsement of Donald Trump, she used the word squirmishing, which squirmishing, I don't know what that is. But anyway, she's not an educated, informed person. And I know that sounds like an elitist, liberal thing to say, but since when does being a conservative equal being stupid, uneducated, and uninformed. I mean, William F. Buckley, who I think really embodied modern conservatism.
Yeah, but didn't he have New York values? He's from Manhattan.
He had New York values? Maybe. I think he was a conservative who lived in New York.
I'm kidding with you.
I don't think that he had New York values, which is why when he ran, I think, for mayor of New York or something like that, he ran for office in New York, he was trounced because he did not have New York values.
I'm not sure what they mean. I know today is the day on the Jewish calendar where we recognize that the Rebbe took leadership of Chabad, and he was in Crown Heights the whole time. I wonder if he had New York values. I don't know. I was critical of Cruz for that thing.
The Lubavitch movement that you're talking about for our non-Jewish listeners. I don't think he had New York values, but yet he had a giant contingent in New York.
I know. It's just so silly to me that Cruz... Wait, let me just finish. Let me finish, Debbie. Right. The thing that's wrong is it's not like rural Utah values. New York is so diverse, and I'm not being diversity uber alles, but I don't know what that means. What race are New York values? Is it black, Hispanic, or white, or Asian? I mean, it's such a diverse group. It sounded so silly to me when Cruz was talking about it. It's not like Hollywood. That's an industry.
When you think of New York, though, they're liberal. That's a blue city. It's a blue state.
No, I know.
It's primarily a blue state because of New York City. It's a blue city, and it's very liberal. They elected a Marxist, Bill de Blasio, as their mayor, and he shut down...
No, I know all this. I'm just making a point.
All that stuff, that's New York values to me. On the other hand, New York has the highest population of Jews in any city in the world, including Jerusalem. So, that's why a lot of people, I think, were bothered by that. I do think Donald Trump has New York values, despite the fact that he's now pretending to be conservative. He's a populist. He's not a conservative. And in many ways, Sarah Palin is a populist who is not conservative either. But Donald Trump had 3 wives, 3 different families. He, was friends with the Clintons, hung out with.
Yeah, but he was married to the women. Let's be honest here. He was married. This is not a Palin situation.
He was not married to Marla Maples at the time that he slept with her. In the beginning,
right? But I'm saying he didn't have any kids out of wedlock.
To Ivana Trump, and he had 3 kids with Ivana, and he was stepping out on her with Marla Maples. So that's actually not true. He was a liberal. He had New York values until he decided that he really was going to run for president. He originally, I think, was not going to run for president. He was just using it, as he did every time he flirted with it, to promote The Apprentice. But then when NBC dumped him from The Apprentice and dumped his pageants and all of that, and he was forced to sell them, he needed another source of showbiz income, and he kind of, had already said he was running for president. He saw his popularity, and he thought, hey, I could maybe really win this thing. But I don't think Sarah Palin will help him that much. She may help him win Iowa.
Which is huge.
I'm not sure if she'll actually be the reason he wins Iowa. I don't think evangelical Christians are stupid, and I don't think they're going to vote for someone just because Sarah Palin says to do so. On the other hand, Ted Cruz was winning in Iowa against Donald Trump by a very slight edge, and now Donald Trump is leading by a very slight edge. But we'll see what happens in the caucuses. I think people are not stupid, and they know what Donald Trump is really about. Listen, he says everything I want to hear, or most things I want to hear, but he's saying that because he knows that's what conservatives want to hear. And once he gets the nomination, there's a huge danger, a very likely danger, that he's going to be the Donald Trump that he was before, which is a liberal Democrat, friend of the Clintons, and so on. Yeah. And the other thing is that that Donald Trump has flip-flopped even while telling us what we want to hear. He had a million different positions on the Syrian immigrants. First he said, we have to let them in. Then he said, we can't let them in. And then he said, one night he was on O'Reilly Factor this past summer, and he said, you have to let them in for humanitarian reasons. Then the next night he was on Sean Vannity's show, and he said, Hannity, and he said, he said, no, we can't let them in. It's a security risk. And then the next morning, he was on The View, and he told Joy Behar, yes, we got to let them in. And Joy Behar praised him for that, and praised him for stepping us away from the conservatives on that issue. So he has been all over the map. Now he says that he wants a ban on Muslims, quote, until we can figure what the heck is going on.
Yeah, that was your point. You're the first one who made that point, I think, that I read, at least.
Right. What does that mean? What does until we can figure out what the heck is going on mean? That's a cloudy, nebulous statement that means nothing.
And by the way, why do you say heck? Why do you say heck instead of hell? I would have said hell if it involves Muslims rather than heck.
Yeah, I think, didn't he say heck, though?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Right, he might have said hell. Either way, he hasn't said what he's going to do to change things. He just makes statements. For example, he was at Liberty University earlier this week, and the big hubbub over this was that he got the name of part of the New Testament wrong. He said 2 Corinthians instead of 2 Corinthians.
Right.
Which is not a big deal to me. I don't believe in the New Testament.
Me
I don't
neither.
really care. To me, we have people in office who don't know that we have 50 states instead of 57 Islamic states. That's Barack Obama. But what I cared about that he said at Liberty University was he told them, if I'm president, they're going to say Merry Christmas to Macy's. They're going to have those cups back that recognize Christmas at Starbucks. How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
We believe in private enterprise. They can do whatever they want.
Right.
He can't do that. So he's just saying whatever he wants to say when he knows it's not going to happen. And the same thing, I think, is true of his claim that Mexico is going to pay for this wall that he's going to finish. I just believe it's very interesting how he's saying all these things, it's smoke and mirrors, and all these people believe it. It is true that a lot of people like that he's saying things that shake things up, even if he doesn't believe in them, and I like that aspect of him. But, talk is cheap. Anybody could say anything, especially if you're a billionaire. You don't have to worry about the consequences. I mean, we saw earlier this week also that the British, are talking about boycotting or banning Donald Trump from Great Britain because they have these strong speech laws. They don't believe in free speech there. And if you say anything that gives a Muslim the feeling of a paper cut or even less, you get banned. And that's why Michael Savage was banned there, even though Michael Savage has been all over the map about Islam, which he often calls one of the world's great religions, and says that ISIS is not Islam, and then he says that it is. He's banned, so they were talking about banning Donald Trump, but some of the members of the House of Lords said, well, we can't really ban him because maybe it was the House of Lords, I'm not sure. It could have been the House of Commons, but one of the people there said, one of the elected officials or appointed officials said, we can't really ban Donald Trump because he owns such and such golf club in Scotland, and if we do that, he could pull out all his money from this golf club, and it would hurt our economy.
Oh.
Now, most people are not billionaires. They don't own golf clubs. They don't have that angle or that edge to things where they can say, oh, you want to boycott me from your country, ban me, then you're going to lose a lot of money. Most people don't have that power. In fact, I think there's only one that does, Donald Trump, because I don't know who else owns that much property around the world.
Right.
Maybe a Rupert Murdoch, but that's it.
Debbie, I want to wind down here, but 2 more thoughts on Sarah Palin I just wanted to run by you. One, what's interesting is she timed it in a way that she gave the endorsement right when Cruz was slightly ahead, and now Trump is slightly ahead. But this is all within the margin of error. So she's in a position, if as you said, her real goal is self-promotion, to take credit for something which may just be like a statistical anomaly. And then the second thing I could say,
right.
You're a woman with a sort of normal voice, not too high or too low. But did she sound particularly shrill and high? It was almost like Hillary-like yesterday.
Oh, my goodness. I couldn't stand it. I had to turn the volume down. Volume. I think I needed a Valium. See, now I'm creating words like she does.
Right, but don't...
I wanted to turn the volume down. The other thing is, some people say the timing was interesting because her son Track,
Yeah.
who thank goodness he served in the military. I'm thankful for his service, but he apparently was arrested for domestic violence and arraigned. Now, we don't know if he did it, and any woman can accuse any guy of domestic violence and say anything they want, and the police usually are unfortunately obligated to believe it, and it's just hearsay. So we don't know if he actually did anything, and I give him the benefit of the doubt. But, what's interesting is the same similar time that he was being arraigned, this happened.
Debbie, is it hearsay if someone's saying isn't hearsay secondhand generally? Would it technically be hearsay or just not verifiable? This is a law school thing.
Well, yeah, you're right. I'm using the hearsay definition not as the legal definition as a lawyer, but as,
gotcha.
what's understood.
Just in case someone's taking the bar in February.
It's just a mere accusation. There's been no proof or anything.
I know. If someone's taking the bar exam in February, I don't want this to be the reason they get that one question wrong. That's all.
Right, but I just want to say one other thing. It was interesting that, so at the same time that the story was coming out that her son was arraigned for domestic violence, she was endorsing Trump, and she managed basically to kill the story about his son about her son because it just dropped out of the news. But one of my Twitter followers pointed out that she was already in the air. He claims he sent me a flight plan. I don't know how it's possible to verify that it was her flight, but he claims she was in the air when he was arrested. And if that's the case, there's no way she could have done anything, there's no way that she, could have planned this or anything like that. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm also not a person that believes Sarah Palin is stupid. I've said she's uninformed and she is ignorant, which she is, but she is not stupid. She's very shrewd and smart on how to play people and how to get media attention and so on. And that's why she's a multimillionaire who's now selling a multi-million-dollar fabulous mansion in Scottsdale, Arizona, that's up for sale. And if you want to Google it, it's beautiful. She's not stupid. She's managed to parlay this into lots of money. And I'm not saying that everyone who's wealthy is brilliant, but she is very shrewd in how she plays people, and she has managed to play the right, particularly the cult of personality that has emerged around her like a fiddle. And I think this Trump thing is the latest example of that. So
you're saying she's very shrewd, and yesterday, in terms of her voice, she sounded like a shrew. The one thought is, don't women's voices get lower in time, less feminine, more masculine, huskier? But it seems like the opposite's going on with her. I just don't remember it being that high.
I have no idea. I haven't analyzed her voice over the years, but I do think she was particularly shrill last night, and it was just hard to listen to. And again, it has nothing to do with my politics. I'm a real conservative. She isn't. I'm far more conservative than she is, and the way she's lived her life is not conservative. Ask Glenn Rice. But
I could have agreed with everything she said, but I still would have had to change the TV. It was horrible.
Exactly. That's the thing. I didn't disagree with a lot of what she was saying, except for when she called Donald Trump a real conservative and all that. But a lot of what she was saying, I agreed with. I just couldn't stand to listen to it. It's horrible, and I understand that people think she's stupid because of a lot of it because of the Tina Fey thing on Saturday Night Live, and a lot of people think that Sarah Palin actually said, "I can see Russia from my house," which she didn't say. She did say we could see Russia from parts of Alaska, which may be true. I believe that is possible on a clear day, was what I think she said. Alaska's not that far from Russia. It looks different on the map, but not that far. But I do wonder if she can see Trump Tower from Alaska, and maybe she can. I don't know.
All right, Debbie.